Hello everyone, Argsy here. Welcome back to Argsy Farms here on the Oaks Realistic Multiplayer server. It is late January, we're not too far away from the end of the month, and it's been a quiet month on the farm. We've been on and have managed to make a little bit of money. We've sold a couple more loads of bales. We've got a third one that we're taking down to the BGA now. We're going to go and get sold. So the money's actually looking pretty decent. We also had all our dried wheat was sold by the haulage firm. Hazelthwaite took care of that for us. So again, a nice little bit of income from that. But otherwise, it's really just been a case of taking care of the animals, making sure they are remaining well fed and well looked after, which they have, and just generally keeping things tidy. So not much else really to do. We are going to take this down to the BGA, like I said, and get it sold. And just as we are driving down here, we are working on another little exciting development here on the server. We're looking to enter a partnership with another farm to buy a field. The amount of fields that are available on the map are, there's a decent amount still available, but they're big and the value of them is huge. You know, we're talking $600,000, $700,000 for some of the fields. There is still some we can pick up for around $450,000, $500,000, and we are looking at one of those where we would enter it into a partnership with one of the other farmers. We're looking at going into a 2/3, 1/3 arrangement. We'd put 2/3 of the value in, and they'd put the other 1/3 in, and then we'd share obviously the income, the profit, the inputs as well, the effort that it takes to get the field prepared and seeded. So we're just working through the finer details of that. Hopefully we'll be in a position to be able to share that news a little bit further with you very soon. But there's the BGA just over there on the left, obviously in the site where Days did have his previous BGA set up, but with what went on with that and his change in plans, the local council has gone ahead and built their own BGA there, so that is where we are going to go and deliver our bales to. Now while we're down here with the trailer, and the trailer is empty, we will head over to the shop. We've got our pallet of baling twine, bale netting there that we should pick up and get back to our farm. I'm just going to try and decide whether we might actually, oh, don't shoot past the entrance, that looks like the way in. But while we're down here, I'm going to decide whether we might look to pick up a little bit of seed and fertilizer too, because we are going to need that at some stage. So rather than doing 2 trips, we might as well do that while we are down here and start to get those things prepared, because we don't want to go and spend our money on the new field and not be able to afford the inputs for it. So it'd be good to have those tidied up sooner rather than later. Now, I'm just going to have to figure out exactly where we need to go to unload these bales. I'm going to assume, I've tagged the VGA there, you can see the big green line, and I've turned on the indicators. I'm going to assume that we deposit them in there, but I haven't actually done this. I wonder whether we're going to need to bring our wheel loader down here, which would be a little bit frustrating, and pull up the side. Going to be enough of a trigger, but let's just get those unstrapped and see if they sell. No, don't seem to be disappearing. Right, we'll do a little bit of more research. Daced is on the server at the moment, so he may be able to shed a little bit more light on where we need to go to sell them. Well, it turns out we were in the right spot. Just the trigger point is quite low on the ground, so the bales being on the back of the trailer weren't being picked up. So we got a little bit creative, had to use a little bit of super strength to get them off, which isn't ideal. We have decided though as well that the Oaks County Council, or City Council, is going to provide a telehandler that will get parked down here permanently and be able to be used by anyone who needs to unload at that sell point. So I think that's a pretty good solution. We got everything off and got about $20,000. I didn't actually see what it was we were on before we started selling, and because we sold them sort of one by one, it's very hard to keep track. But if you go back and watch where we were not that long ago, gosh, we pulled up there on a close or something, not ideal. But if you do go back and see where we were not that long ago, you'll see how much money we made. Anyhow, that's all done. Let's head on down to the store. We'll go and pick up that twine, grab a little bit of our fertilizer and seed, and head on back down to our yard. We'll take advantage of the forklift down here at the store. I've gone and bought 4 bags of seeds. That's 4,000 litres. Not sure if that's going to be enough or not. But for now, that is probably all we need. We'll have to figure out when we get our new field and our partnership exactly who's going to be responsible for buying the seed and how we pay for that between each other, but that is something to be solved probably next month. I think that might be a good time. February, just at the end of winter, start of spring, and be getting ourselves all set up for being able to handle that. But we'll get these loaded up. One, so I got that 3, there it is. Those on there as well. Now I was going to buy some fertiliser, but I did realise as well that the haulage firm are selling bulk fertiliser, so we might look purchase some from them. I think we have a silo that can go into back down at the farm. We'll have to have a look at that. I'm pretty sure there's one around the back, but we'll see about getting some fertiliser delivered that way rather than buying it in the big bags. Might be a little bit easier for us to handle and work with rather than having to deal with bags. We can just go around and use the auger on the silos to fill up. But there we go, those are all on there. Perfect. Get our round and get our pallet of twine picked up, and that'll be us done. Now, one thing I can't remember if I've talked about it before or not, but we are looking at replacing our water trailer, because 2,000 litres of hot when we're trying to put 20,000 litres into the animal pen just makes it a little bit difficult. So I am looking at replacing that at some time in the future, but again, I want to get this field all sorted out and purchased before we do anything else, and before we commit any money elsewhere. Right, let's just see if we can concentrate on getting this pallet picked up. Okay, that's on. That'll do. Right, here we go. Just had confirmation from Mark in the haulage term that he does sell fertiliser, so we'll take advantage of that from him. So we'll get this put up here, down, strap everything on, and get ourselves back down to our yard. Alright, there we are, packed away nice and neatly in the shed. Didn't bother unloading it. We'll wait and see what we're going to need the trailer for next. I'm not sure if we need it for anything or not. That is us pretty much done. Like I said, there's not a huge amount to do in January at the moment. It's a beautiful day today. Got to admit, no snow around, that's all melted. There has been quite a bit of snowfall around about though. We might have to have a little bit of a look at our equipment, consolidate some. We haven't really used the weeder since we got it because we have been using the seeder. Got the plough in the back here, and I was just looking at that fertiliser spreader we have in there as well. Hasn't done much work, so we'll see. We might have to try and consolidate some of those things. I think this one, we've got that silo there we could use for some fertiliser. And I think if we come around the back here, pretty sure the big smooth wall bin, iridium bin here, is a fertiliser bin as well. There you go, stainless steel fertiliser tank. So we can get the haulage company to put some fertiliser in there. We've ordered 10,000 litres, so that should see us through pretty well for our spring planting. So I'm going to sign off from our farm for now. But what we're actually going to do, seeing we've got some time, we're going to go and take a tour of the map, go and have a look at some of the other farms around, just give you a brief overview of what they're all doing, what they're about, and what their plans are here on the server. So come along with me, let's go and see who's here and what they're doing. So the first stop on our tour brings us to Williamson Farms. Now this is run by Dazed, our server host. We'll just take a look on the map. I'll show you exactly where we are, not too far from our own yard. So we're here at Williamson Farms, and like I said, not too far away from our yard at all, just up here. We're really just over in the next field, probably our closest neighbour. Now, Williamson Farms have 3 fields they own, 42, which is where their yard is, field 20 over this way, and down the bottom here, field number 77. Looking back here at the crops, currently we're running canola down the bottom here, and fields 20 and 42 both having barley in them. Now, Williamson Farms is a medium-sized arable farm growing wheat, barley and canola, while also buying and stocking a lot of straw for both power generation and to sell to other farms and the local grain dryer. Williamson Farms have a mixture of owned land, the couple of fields we've just looked at, as well as contract farmed land where they operate with a cost-profit split shared with the landowner. Due to the nature of contract farming, they operate all over the county, which has also influenced the type of machinery that Williamson Farms uses. They mainly run fast tracks as they're a perfect all-rounder, allowing them to cover large areas of land in a short time. This makes them very flexible when one area is wet and can't be worked on, and they're already able to get to another area. They have considered lorries, but not at a scale where they financially make sense. Fast tracks allowing them to reach near lorry-like capacity with the 3-axle trailers, while having them available for land work as well. In the short term, Williamson Farms are trying to grow their fleet with an extra fast track or two, as well as a few other pieces of equipment that will help them scale up while paying off the new shed that was recently put up to replace 3 aging sheds and workshop. In the medium to long term, they're looking to partner with more farms to increase the acres that are farmed sustainably, while also increasing the amount of land that they own to eventually hit the 300 to 400 hectare number, which will be the maximum that they can cope with. That's a brief look at Williamson Farms. Thank you to Days for allowing us access to his sheds and equipment to take a look around. Now, let's move on. We're going to go and take a look at the next of the farms. So moving on, and now we're taking a look at TWW Productions, or Time Wasting Productions as it is better known. This is run by Mark Haythornthwaite and has started out as our haulage company and is progressively expanding into farming. The narrative Mark has provided for his farm, the Oaks Haulage firm, was originally run by his elderly relative who's no longer able to run the business. The business was set up to be contracted to haul grain from the local farms to the grain merchants and take animal waste to the local BGA. Business was sporadic, which was fine for his retired elderly relative, as it just brought in a little extra cash every so often. The plan has been to try and expand the business model from just a haulage firm to a more sustainable business model for the future. This includes having grain dryers which have been installed here near the shop, which help farmers get the best possible price for their harvested grains. More environmentally aware method of producing spreadable solid fertiliser has been created, which means farmers get paid more for the waste byproducts of the animals, while allowing them to purchase a cheaper method of fertilising the land. Also, a fertilising and lime service is available. The long-term goal is for the business to expand into farming as well, and hopefully purchase some land in the area, which they have successfully done with field number 44 being purchased, and you can see there that it has been ploughed, it is being limed, and will be no doubt planted in spring with the first crops for TWW Productions. So the current home for TWW Productions, right up here next to the shop and in amongst some of the area up here. First field that they have purchased is field number 44, which just so happens to make them our neighbours with our little grass field we have tucked in here. So once again, a huge thank you to Mark Haythornthwaite from TWW Productions, Time Wasting Productions, for allowing us access down here into his property and taking a look around. Looking forward to seeing him grow and develop as the server continues to thrive. Moving further afield down towards the bottom of the map, we're at Bovine Grains. Now, Bovine Grains is run by none other than Bovine, and has a focus on productions. As you can see there in front of us, we've got the oil production set up. And Bovine is buying quite a bit of canola from any farmer who's prepared to sell it, and I do know he has some arrangements in place with some of the farmers around to grow canola on his behalf, which he will then buy. In fact, we sold our canola to him rather than through the market. With that, he's producing canola oil, which he will then take to the markets. Located down here, Bovine owns fields 80 and 81 immediately adjacent to his farm, so nice and easy to access and get in there to work at the fields. Bovine's plans for the farm over the next few years: grow where possible, adding some more fields, improving the equipment that they have, clearing some of the debt that they currently have, and looking at adding some more productions into the mix to go with the oils. The last stop for our tour today brings us down to the bottom of the map to Twin Creek on the Oaks. Twin Creek is a sheep and bull beef farm located in the southern end of the Oaks and is focused purely on animal production. So the main farmyard for Twin Creek is right down here at the bottom of the map, very near to the sugar plant, and they own a lot of fields around this area. 88 over the road, 86 and 87, then further up here 85, 100 and 99, all owned by Twin Creek Farms. The name originated from the two creeks running parallel with the lane when sheep first drove into the farm, and the name stuck. Currently the farm runs 400 beef bulls which are traded over the year, and taking on 400 ewes as we speak. They aim to produce quality beef, lamb and wool. The farm is run by a sheep himself and a Finnish farmer who has been an asset to the business. The aim over the coming year is to minimise debt levels and consolidate things, however we'll continue buying land that strengthens the business when it allows, but will be most likely leased out to arable farms. As for animals, these will most likely remain the numbers for the time being, as things are now running at a low cost and very profitable. While it would be nice to continue expansion in this area, time in real life unfortunately does not allow it. Equipment is kept to a minimal amount in the operation, with the hay and grass silage making gear the most key, as all hay and grass silage is made in-house and contractors are used for anything outside of this. Currently running 2 tractors, a Class and a Vultra. Sheep also would like to share that the server is made up of a good bunch of people that makes it awesome to play on, and the farm interaction with contracting and outputs traded combined with the realism makes it an immersive experience. So nice to see a farm that is focused more on the animal side of things, obviously tapping into the contract side of things as well where possible. So great to hear, and thank you again to Sheep and to Finish Farmer for allowing me access down here on Twin Creek on the Oaks. That wraps up our tour for today. That's 4 of the farms here on the Oaks that we've just gone and looked at. We've still got another 4 still to look at as well. We're going to check those out in the next episode. I hope you've found that informative and interesting just to see what else is actually going on here. It's not just me living in my own little world. There's quite a thriving and bustling rural ecosystem going on here, and it's nice to see and it's nice to be part of and involved in. So I hope you've found that episode interesting. As always, thank you all very much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.